And now it's Deborah Kobylt Live.
Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today on Deborah Kobylt Live. And please welcome my guest, Andrea Quinn. Andrea is a world-renowned speaker, best-selling author of the Quinn Essentials for Women, although she does also work with men, nine transformational tools to accomplish anything. You're also a life and business coach, and you are one of the best at what you do, I have to tell you, especially because of these nine tools that you give us, because sometimes we just sort of need things written out. We need to sort of look at a page and say, this is what I need to do to accomplish what I need to do. So we're not running in circles. Anyway, Andrea, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to have you. Talk to me a little bit about how you got into this space of life and business coaching, a little bit about you and what you do.
Okay, well, like I always say, I was born bossy. So I came in telling people what to do and kind of knowing what the right things were. And so as I got older in my life, what I realized was how important mentorship was for me, how important it was when people guided me and said, why don't you look at it this way? Maybe you should look at it that way. And I realized that how important it was. And then one day someone came to me and told me I should be a life coach. And I didn't even know what that was.
Right.
Not a lot of people were doing it. This was back in 2003. Now it's popular and a lot of people are doing it. And I think it's great because we have 7 billion people on the planet. And I think everybody needs a coach. So, but back when I started, in 2003, it wasn't popular then. And so I really looked into it and I was like, wow, that's just me. And I had one of those Oprah aha moments, where you just go, I can do this. And so I started the journey with it. And it has just been, some of my greatest, experiences in my life. Like I work with men and women. In fact, 60% of my clientele are men, but group wise, it's women. And so in 2008, I just started this group of women to empower each other and create community. And then it started snowballing. And that's where the curriculum came from for the book. And then now I've had thousands of women all over the world who have participated and are part of this community. So it's really something.
You say you came in bossy. I like to say my mom said I came in sort of a pain in the ass. So I really do believe that very often we are who we were as little kids. And sometimes when we're looking to find that passion, I like to say, well, who were you when you were younger? Because very often, that little kid who was coloring, maybe that person grew up to be an artist, or somebody like myself who was a pain in the ass, grew up chasing people down the street to get an answer as a reporter, and you were a bossy kid. I believe you told me that you used to have stuffed animals that you would get in a circle. What did you do when you were a kid?
I put them, I put them in a circle. I would tell them that they were, that I loved them, and I asked them how they were feeling. And it was like this whole thing, right? So there were my first groups that I ever taught was on my, as a little girl with my stuffed animals, our childhood, if we would just follow the breadcrumbs of what we loved, we'll find out that's what our soul came here to contribute, right? And so what happens to a lot of people is they find out as they get older, they put aside their dreams because they thought they had to do something different, or it wasn't enough, or they weren't enough. And so you'll find that some people just start to go back to what they initially did as children, and it brings them so much joy.
Yeah. Tell me what happened in your own life that led you to this. Were you struggling? Were you having tough times with relationships or anything else? Please tell us.
Yeah. Well, the joke is for me, in the book that talks about how I was #mess. I was always running, always trying to do things different. I was a rebel. I broke the rules all the time. I was always just trying to run into a new life, a new direction. I've been married 3 times. I just, I always tell people, if you did it, I did it bigger, and I also don't recommend running off to Tokyo with a rock band. It doesn't fix anything, right? So
sounds like fun though, Andrea. It sounds like a lot of fun.
So
Anyway,
we think that what we're doing and what you're actually running from is yourself. Running from your purpose.
Yeah.
Running from all the mistakes you think you've made. You don't necessarily have to be running physically. You can be running emotionally. And sometimes running emotionally means cutting ourselves off and putting up a wall, right? So I did a lot of that, and I realized, but one of the things that I was always fascinated with was the human condition. I was always fascinated with psychology and spirituality, theology, astrology, any ology. I was into it, and so I started understanding and gathering knowledge. And then I realized my life was still a mess because I wasn't applying any of it.
Interesting. Yeah.
We don't apply what we know. We as women are told, put yourself first, but we have no idea what that means. And then when we have a chance to do it, we have all this guilt about how we're selfish. And people tell us you're selfish. And the truth is, they don't even know what selfish means.
Very often I'll wake up in the morning saying, Deborah, you're going to do this and this first for yourself. And by the end of the day, I say, you didn't do it. So there's a lot of people out there like me who really want to, and they have the desire to. And as the day goes on, they put themselves last again. Let's talk about how we can put ourselves first. And perhaps we can start with some of the tools or anything else that you think would be valuable for our audience, please.
Well, if we're talking women, the most important thing is we must learn to receive. It is the foundation of my entire business, because receptivity is our female superpower. But we don't receive, we deflect.
Right.
And receiving to create is why we're here. And women know how to create. We are creators. Even if you look at having children, that's a creative process. We came here to create. And so when we don't receive first and we keep doing and doing and doing and doing, this is why we're all tired. This is why we're resentful. This is why everybody's life looks great around us, but ours. And this is why we're not first on our list. Because we think, let's just get everything done. Let's just get everything done, and then I'll have time for me. And you'll never get everything done.
Is this a genetic thing? Are we born this way? Most women I know are like this. And the men in my life, my husband, my 3 sons, nope, they're not like that. They put themselves first. And then when I'm all irritated and pissed off because I've done stuff for everybody else, they're like, well, you got to calm down. Good luck with that one. So what do we do? So if you could answer that, is this sort of a genetic thing, and we have to teach ourselves and have tools, your tools in particular, to make sure that we follow them?
Yeah. Well, it's habitual.
Yeah.
We've learned it. And I think women learn it generation after generation after generation. And this is where we as women have to stop and really analyze what's going on in our inner life and in the outer world. And what I hear so many women say is, I don't have time. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. Well, we teach people how to treat us. So whoever's doing whatever to you, you've taught them that's okay. That's okay. Because they couldn't do it. Now, I've had people who've taken my workshop in all age groups, right? A lot of people early, just getting out of college, early 20s, all the way into their 70s. And they all say the same things. That they weren't taught or they didn't know how to slow down for themselves. And so it's a habit.
About your workshops, I know today you're doing an Instagram live to talk about a 2-day workshop that you have later in April. And I want to discuss that later on in our program. I do, because I know many people who've attended your workshops and they said, Deborah, you absolutely have to. And they got a lot out of it. And to this day, they are using the tools that you taught them because you've lived through it. and you're out there in the world, you're a curious person. And when things weren't working for you, you said you had all the ologies up, the psychology, the theology. You asked the questions until you got answers, and now you're showing us what to do. Let's go through some of these tools, shall we? Let's pick one. I'm going to go first. Listening. That's a big one. Let's talk about that first.
Listening. Women, we really don't listen because we are, especially in business, we are programmed we don't get what we want. And we are fighting so hard to be heard.
Yeah.
That we really don't listen ourselves. We're thinking while someone else is talking so that we can come back with what we want so that we can get what we want. It's not fair. It's just how it is. But we have to stop, because how many women, I've been told by people, you're not hearing me. It's like, yeah, I'm not, because I'm not listening. And listening is twofold. We have to listen out to others, but we have to listen to ourselves. And we don't listen to ourselves because we blame her for everything we've done wrong. Why would I listen to her? What I love about this is we listen from our center, we hear from our ears. And listening is here. And as women, we already know everything. Because what have you said most of your life? I knew that. Damn it. I knew it.
Yeah.
You knew it, but you just didn't listen to it. And we have to practice listening to ourselves. And I give exercises on how to do that, because we avoid, just like a job interview, people take job interviews, especially single mothers. They really need the money to take care of their families, right? And so they interview for a job, and someone tells them, we make a lot of money. We don't have lives, but we make a lot of money. And all you heard was, we make a lot of money, I could take care of my family. You didn't hear we don't have lives. And then you're angry that they're calling you on a Saturday when you're supposed to be taking your kids somewhere. And you thought, oh, well, if I just got the job, they don't know me, I'm going to do the job so well, they're not going to bother me. They told you at the interview you weren't going to have a life. Did you hear them or did you not hear them? I mean, that's
good point. Good point. Wait a minute. That's a good point, because very often when we're talking to somebody, including our significant others, they say one thing and then we hear something else maybe in our heads, or we think we could change the outcome, such as the example you gave with a job. Good one, Andrea. I like that. Yeah, not just listen, but really take in what somebody's saying, and don't go into something thinking, I'll change that. That's never a good strategy. I like that. Let's talk about another one or two. They kind of go together in a way. Let go and self-acceptance. Let's talk about that a little bit. How do you let go? That's a hard one for me. I'm always holding on like this.
Well, attachment is a problem for human beings, especially for the psyche. What we're attached to, we're entangled in. And when you're entangled, you're not free.
Yeah.
And so you have to learn to let go, to release. First of all, the past isn't even here. So whatever has happened before this very moment isn't real anymore, except in your mind. So when you really can get that, I mean, that's real truth. Nothing is like, in this moment, you take an inventory to try to get yourself to gratitude, even if you don't feel great, even if you're upset about something. And so I always talk about, what's the truth? Well, the truth isn't here anymore. I'm just holding on to it because, sometimes our attachments and our pain gives us power in our minds, but it really doesn't. It weakens us. So it's
That's
about,
true.
It's like it releases. When you can release things, you can be free to make better decisions for your own life.
Okay, wait. How do you release things? That's one of the biggest ones for me.
Yeah.
I can figure out how to listen if I just pinch myself. I mean, I'm joking here, but letting things go. Oh boy, if I'm not a ruminator, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, please give anybody a tool on that one.
Well, you have to train yourself. So I always tease people that your mind acts exactly the way the dog you have does. My dogs are very trained. When I say sit, they better sit. And when I say stay, they better stay. And so I don't let them just run around the house and wreak havoc. That's what I won't let my mind do. So I have to say, Andrea, no, no,
Yeah.
no. You
And may
really
I say,
have to.
this is for anything, particularly dieting, for all those who are like, yeah, but I really want that half a donut. No,
No.
no. Like training is everything. I love your, you give me great visuals, and I can see the dog right now saying,
Right.
oh, that's a good point. So you really are terrific to getting into the mind, to saying, giving us those little Pavlov dog kind of a thing, right? No, right? That's terrific.
And then sometimes I'll say to myself, Andrea, make another choice.
Mm,
Make another choice. You have chosen this reaction. You've chosen this behavior. Now, you might be on autopilot, but the way that if you are really working, because what's at stake? Let's just talk about not letting go of things. What's at stake is your peace of mind and your happiness. That's what's at stake. The peace of mind, you've heard the old row, row, row your boat gently downstream, merrily, merrily, merrily. This is just a dream. This is joy. Joy is why we're here. We're here to bring love, to help this world be a better place. And we are here to feel joy. And some people don't even know what that is. It's separate from happiness. Happy is exterior. Joy comes from the inside. Joy emanates from the soul. Happiness is a result of something, which is why it's fleeting.
How do you find that joy and reflect the happiness when you're not feeling it on the inside or the outside? How do you get that back again?
Well, first of all, when you're not feeling it, tell the truth. Don't put a wall up.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm really not mad. I'm like, give yourself permission to have your full scope of emotion, and then figure out a way to talk to yourself about, is this behavior good for you? And then, can I make a different choice? Like sometimes, like let's say I'll fight with my husband, right? And we all fight with our husbands. And if you don't fight with your husband, something's wrong. Okay.
Oh, never. Absolutely. Never, never.
So sometimes I'll say, I want to say something, but I'm not going to take responsibility for how you hear it.
Oh.
And what I'm going to do is, you're going to choose how you react. You can either choose anger, you can choose hurt, you can choose frustration, but I'm not going to take responsibility for that. I'm just going to tell you how I feel. And so when he looks at me like, but we can choose like that pissed me off. No, you chose anger in that moment. Good to know. Now you can make a different choice. I mean, it really is. You have to be that conscious. You hear about all these people that aren't conscious. We're walking around in an unconscious society, everybody on their phones. They're not even conscious of what's going on around them. They're not conscious when they're driving. They're not conscious when they're cooking. They're not conscious.
Let me tell you. Go ahead.
We have to be conscious. If we're not conscious with our own behaviors and hold ourselves accountable to create a happy life, what are we even doing?
Yeah, you brought up the phone. I have to tell you, I'm going to admit to something. I've become an Instagram scroller, and I hate it, and I will not do it. And, I'm on Instagram because I post my stories and my interviews, so I'm there. But I need to go there, post what I need to post, and put it down. Because, just scrolling through something. And I talked to another friend of mine. She goes, oh my gosh, me too. And I'm thinking, okay, this is not good. We're disconnecting because of this thing. We really, really are. And people, it's a real thing. It's creating isolation. I wanted to talk to you about that. And I think that it really is very difficult for us. What do we do? Those of us, a lot of people have been isolating. And you talked to me about that off camera, about people who isolate. It's really not healthy. How do you stop isolating? We all got into that whole mode during COVID. And for many of us, including me, I had a tough time coming out of isolation because I sort of liked it there. What do you say? How do we come out?
Well, as people, and if you talk to older people, the people that are living the best lives older have community.
Yeah.
We're pack animals.
Yeah.
We are supposed to be together, and when we don't, we turn on ourselves.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, especially during trauma, like look at the LA fires right now, right? We are all in this collective trauma, this collective grief. But the worst thing people can do is isolate. You know, they need to try to step out. They need to get therapy. They need to get support groups. They need to ask for help. You know, sometimes people who seem the strongest and the toughest are the ones you need to call to say, are you okay? And then when they say,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm okay, you can say, you're probably not. And it's okay if you're not.
Right. And I'll check in with you, in a
And
day
I'll
or
check
two.
in with you in a day or two. Exactly. And so isolation is something that it's not good for our souls, good for our spirits. Remember the lockdowns at COVID? People were going crazy.
Yeah.
Senior citizens were passing away in
Oh,
these homes because none of their family could visit them.
okay. It breaks my heart to even think about it. It
No, but think
does.
about it.
Oh,
When you do think about it, isolation, this is why it's important to create community and to be a part of community.
how do you do that at a certain point when you feel isolated? A lot of people may have moved away. Life has changed. Like even for myself, right? I would always see. I've got 3 kids. They're college age now, right?
Right.
I was always in and out of the school. My gosh, there was always something going on. Somebody putting on an event or a mom group or whatever, and all of a sudden it disappeared. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't expect that because people moved on, they moved away. um what do you do when maybe your inner circle, and it was a lovely, just sort of dissipated? How do you build another one, particularly as women, because we need that? How do you build it up again?
Well, first of all, it's going to take energy,
Yeah.
and you're going to have to put energy into your own life.
Yeah.
So, how many people are still here? Do you want to create something fun like a empty nest book club,
Isn't
or
that smart? Boy, you are something.
right?
Go
Just
ahead.
invite a bunch of women over and have an empty nest book club and share stories about what it feels like to feel isolated, and then start off by telling the truth. I don't know about you guys. I started this because I'm kind of feeling lonely. I'm kind of feeling isolated. And they look at you and go, what are you talking about, Deborah? You've got a huge life. You travel all the time. You've got this family. That doesn't mean you're not lonely.
Yeah.
And so it's about and then go find out what you love. Like if you love painting and you haven't painted in 30 years, go take a painting class. Push yourself outside of your comfort zone. Sometimes I focus on things that I love. And one of my favorite things to do, I know it's weird, I like to get a cup of coffee, stop and get a cup of coffee somewhere and walk around a nursery. I love plants. I love flowers.
Oh, I'm
And
the same way. I thought, why aren't I working in one of these places? Anyway,
I
go ahead.
know, like you walk out at Armstrong and meet somebody and
Oh,
talk to them. I love it. I love it. I love flowers. Like they're my thing, And so I just love going out there and I meet people and say hello. And that's just the beginning of, yeah, I'm going to do that today. And then, you start to understand that we are isolating ourselves because we kind of don't know what else to do.
yeah.
Also, some of them do it on purpose because they have trauma and pain. A lot of people who have lost family members, lost spouses, have divorces. The worst thing you can do during a divorce, in my opinion, is isolate.
Mm,
However, it's important to be around your people,
yeah.
not the gossipers, not the people that just want to know, but the people that you feel are your inner circle.
Yeah.
Please connect with them.
Yeah, there's always a way, and there's always someone out there who's looking to connect as a friend or as a significant other. Because for me, I just say to myself, you just keep going, just go, just get
What?
up and go. I'm with you. If I'm out in nature, I never feel alone because there's always something there, a plant that's living. And if you just get out there, it takes on a whole different meaning, right? You're somebody to talk to. I agree. Now, I want to ask you something because starting out in business is a little different than when I started out, right? 20 years ago. I mean, even just 20 years ago, you would still be sending out a resume. You would still be cold calling. That doesn't happen anymore, right? When you are as a business coach, how do you advise people, especially younger people, getting out there because they have a dream and a goal, and they want to do something, but they sometimes don't know where to start or how to do it?
Right. Well, first of all, the scope of things has changed greatly.
A lot.
But if you really have an empowered mindset, there are more opportunities.
Love it.
Not less. So this is why community is important, because people will get you in those doors.
Yeah.
Also help with mentorship. Sign up, reach out to a human resource and say, I'm looking for mentorship. I've had people cold call for mentorship to get a mentor meeting, a mentor cup of coffee with someone successful. And literally 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes. Also, we have these online places, your LinkedIn's, your Indeeds, and people are actually, these work. People are actually
they do.
People. So I feel that, but I do feel no matter what, people are all worried about AI and this and that. I'm not worried about that because there is no substitution for human connection.
Yeah.
None. Zero. There's not. And there never will be.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful point. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, when you understand that, so when you want to look for a job, there is a process, but there also is, I have this philosophy that everyone we need is right in front of us. We just don't connect. We're just not connecting anymore. I have people, I have clients in my very high level, very successful, the best that upper echelon of what they do. I make them leave their phones in the car and go into Starbucks and get their coffee. They act like I've taken their firstborn from them.
True.
And they go, what am I? Well, I have the app. I go, well, they still put a credit card in your pocket and go do it. Do not. And it breaks the habit. And all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, you know what I noticed? I go, what? Everybody's on their phone. I go, exactly. But say hello. Say hello. And then say hello. And then say hello. I mean, my husband hates when I go to Starbucks because if I'm in line long enough, I'm going to make a friend. You know what I mean? And he's like, oh my God, she's going to bring someone to the car to meet me. You know what I mean? I love people. And we cannot get anywhere in life without people. If you have created a business, you need consumers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have people all the time. I hate people. I just hate people. I'm like,
what?
I know people say that
God.
so much.
Oh, I love people. I can't believe anyone would feel that way. There's so much to see and appreciate and learn from people. Wow, that's too bad when I hear that. So what do you tell them?
All the time. Well,
wow.
I said to them, well, you've got this wrong. You actually hate something else.
Oh.
So you probably hate the way you show up in the world.
Yeah.
You probably hate the way, and you're just projecting because you have a business and you need consumers. So you wonder why your business isn't working when you're vibrationally and your frequency coming out of your mouth is, I hate people.
Yeah.
It's
when you
really interesting.
When you do your business talks, you sort of weave it together, business and life coaching. I mean, does it all sort of, I guess it would have to, right? What's the number one thing that people like to hear about when you do your seminars or workshops, whatever you call them?
That everything's within our power, that we really can transform, that we really can make shifts, and that you can actually tangibly see them change your life.
And you give people tools. And by tools, I mean, literally, everybody get out your pen and paper and write them down. Keep them in your car, put them in the bathroom. Put them by your nightstand. These are things that you can, I love the 9 tools that you have because we can all learn from them. You also talk about something called the quad: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. Can you briefly touch on that as well? Because all of this works together. The quad works in tandem with the Quinn Essentials, right? The 9 tools to accomplish everything or anything. Would you tell us how they all work together?
Yeah, well, here's what happens. I have people when they come in, we draw in a big piece of paper the quads of
Yeah.
your life. And we always talk about that your life is like a table. It's got 4 legs: mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. And when one of the legs are short, the whole table wobbles. So you have to look at mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. How am I doing mentally? How am I doing physically? How am I doing emotionally? And how am I doing spiritually? And spiritually doesn't mean religious.
Right.
Like, I think walking around Armstrong's with a cup of coffee is spirit for me.
Me too.
I
Me too.
love doing it. You know,
We gotta go meet at Armstrong one day. That's my thing too. Go ahead.
And walking your dog can be spiritual.
Yeah.
You know, cooking a meal. But where do you find connection with this energy outside of yourself? And so you kind of look, and then just some people say to me, you know, Andrea, I'm just so spiritually void. And I'm like, good to know. Let's figure out a way to expand this. Or some people say, you know, I'm just so emotionally cut off. I'm angry. Good to know. Let's do this. So we kind of look at the quads about which one needs the most work. And most of the time you'll find for women, that mental leg is the one holding all the weight.
Wow.
And it's so hard. It's so hard on us. Like how long, and I have to do this with myself, you know, and the physical is the one that I have to work on the most. It's like, okay, did I get out and even walk today? Did I get out and walk to the end of the block today? Did I move my body, or did I just sit here and work? Or did somebody just, am I connected with all parts of myself? And, you know, one of the things people know about me is I'm just really honest about where I am, where I mess up, where I can do better. You know, that's the stuff that it's true. We're all on this journey as human beings, and we're all a mess. Every one of us. And you think that these people who are famous, or that they've written these big books or whatever, they're still a mess. Yeah. And we just have to keep moving in the direction of joy. Really, it's all comes down to it, because what's all this about if you have no joy in your life?
I have to tell you, you mentioned the fires, and I took it really hard, and I'm still really processing it about so many people that I know who lost their homes. We didn't. We were very close to the evacuation mandatory, and I believe you evacuated where you were in the hills. Yeah. It's been tough, right? But we hadn't been laughing. Everything felt intense. We're also in the news business, right? My husband comes home and talks about it. I'm like, oh my God. So this past weekend, we said, let's go do something silly. So we went to see a play, a farce, an English farce. And we all know those are ridiculous, right? It's like the door is slamming, you know, grandma loses her underpants. We laughed so hard, and we went there intentionally knowing we needed to just get lost in something silly and totally stupid. And gosh, if it didn't really help pivot where we were, how we were feeling mentally. So to your point of joy and happiness, we need to laugh. Whatever it is that makes you laugh, right? Like slapstick, anything. Go watch an old, vaudeville routine or something. Don't you think? We got to get back to laughing.
Absolutely. And what is laughter? It's a frequency elevator.
Yeah.
It elevates your personal frequency so that you can experience joy. But look what you did. You had to take the action to get out and go through it. And that's the thing. People stay, I don't feel like it. I'm stuck. Now, depression is debilitating.
Yeah.
If you know you have debilitating depression, please reach out and get help. And on my Instagram, I do have a list. There is an ongoing list of therapists, especially if you're in the Los Angeles area, that are pro bono. I think there's 500 of them on there already that are doing it to help people with the fires, and it's all pro bono. So the excuse that you don't have the money to get support can go out the window. And there's all kinds of organizations in your area, if you don't live in Los Angeles, that really, when you take your mental health seriously, there's a difference between debilitating depression and habitual isolation.
Hmm.
And make sure that you're really checking in with yourself about which one it really is.
Yeah. So before I let you go, let's talk a little bit about, you have an Instagram live today, because you're going to be talking about a workshop that your 2-day workshop that you're going to be holding in April in Beverly Hills. Can you tell our audience about that?
Yes, I'm going to be in Beverly Hills, April 26th and 27th. And it's a 2-day live event. And women are flying in from all over the country. And I know it's going to be really fun. It's a very, it's a very incredibly safe environment. It's not one of those ones where you get there really early and you're there all night. Like, we are basically like a work day. We're like 9 to 5, and then Sundays like 10 to 4, and we're done. But your life will be transformed in those 2 days. And again, I've had thousands and thousands of women take this class, and they're still reaching out to me years later. They've taken it over and over as well. I've got a few women that have taken it 5 times because they keep recreating their lives every time. And it's an incredible honor for me to be a part of it. And so I'm really looking forward to them. Right now, I also have an early bird. So if they want to get on the QuinnEssentials.com, which is the website for it, they can just find out the information, or they can just email us, and we'll be happy. Me or my team will reach out and answer any questions that they might have. So.
Yeah. And again, I want to just say, you do provide like real tools. You don't just walk away going, well, how? You show us how. And I know people who've taken this and they called me, which is why you're on my show, and they said, you must take this. And these are really successful women. And they said it brought us to our next level. And it was really wonderful. And just, again, before you go, some of those tools, if you pick up the book, the Quinn Essentials for Women, 9 transformational, why can't I say that word? Tools to accomplish anything.
Right.
You talk about receiving.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about I am, choose soul over something that looks shiny.
Yes.
Right? Listen, self-acceptance, connecting, ask, visualize, empower your word, letting go. Is there one in particular that you follow, or do you sort of have this circular? And go ahead.
If I don't follow them all, I'm in trouble. But I'll be honest with you. The 2 I have the hardest with is the first and the last. Receiving as a strong woman is a very hard. I've got to remind myself, no. And you need to, because here's the thing: we only have so much energy, and we dissipate it all the time by doing, and then we have nothing left for ourselves. So receiving and then letting go. Those are the 2 that I am in constant awareness of, because those are my 2 triggers. 2 through 8, no problem. I got those down. I can ask for anything. I can connect with anyone. I don't have, but it's so interesting. But at the end of the workshop, what I like to do is just say, listen, which one of these tools felt the hardest for you? That's the one I want you to focus on for 30 days.
Oh, I like that. I like that. I'm like you. Receiving, I told you I had the flu and it was really bad.
Yeah.
And friends were sending me, soup. And I'm like, no, you don't have to. And I'm like, Deborah, just say thank you. Ladies, we've got it. We've got to take it in and just say 2 words. Thank you. Also asking. I'm not good at asking for much at all. We got to get used to asking. It's okay. What were you going to say?
I'll cure you, because you're coming in April, right?
Yeah.
So I cure you of ask-itis. It is a disease.
I like that. Ask-itis is a disease. Yes. We can leave on that. That's a great one. Ladies, please sign up for the workshop. If you're on Instagram, what shout out to your Instagram handle.
Andrea Quinn Coaching.
Yeah. And what time?
For today?
Yeah.
Oh, today, 4 p.m. Pacific time. I'll be jumping on an Instagram live. And then you can also, and then the workshop's linked in the bio. So
wonderful. I'm so excited we finally did this. Just to tease our audience what it is that you do. And I'm grateful to my friends who suggested that you're on the show, because you really give such great practical tips on how to better ourselves. And don't we all want to better ourselves, ladies, no matter where we are in life? We need to do that, especially as women, even though I know you work with men quite a bit. as women, we really have to stop and focus on making ourselves better for us. Anyway, Andrea Quinn, thank you very, very much. And everybody, you can find my conversation with Andrea on YouTube, Facebook, and then we have promos from our show on our Instagram. And you can also find us as an audio podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify, just about anywhere that you get your podcast. Just look us up at Deborah, Kobylt Live, and Andrea Quinn. Thank you all for joining us. Please tell your friends. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.